Hi, I'm Venk.
And I'm Jaya.
And this is Reality Hate, episode 38, y'all.
Yes.
I mean, we've really been through it, and you've come along for the ride.
Yes.
And if you want to keep coming on for the ride, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and click the notification bell so you can be notified when our next episode comes around.
You know, you're going to watch.
You know, darling, I just got to say, on Beverly Hills, but on Salt Lake City.
Yeah. I saw a Bravo Betches post on Instagram, and they were like, Erica passing the baton to Jen of Salt Lake City.
I mean, that is amazing. Before we start, I do have some New York tea. I know you know Ebony K. Williams. So apparently one of the big reasons is that one episode where they were at Luann's home.
Yep.
In upstate or in the Hamptons?
Hamptons.
When
upstate.
When she asked Ebony to leave and Ebony left, allegedly, Ramona said, "This is why we can't have Black people on the show, because they're going to make it great." And if this isn't the reason why Ramona gets fired,
the old kickaroo.
This is the toxicity. And I think, this is where we'll see if the executives are going to be okay with letting a racist stay on TV, or if they're going to give them the boot like they did to the Vanderpump people.
Right. Because that's pretty bad.
She's a deplorable. We knew that from the person she voted for. But other than that, she's also I think she's aged out. And I'm sorry to be ageist, but white people can be pretty fucking racist.
They sure can.
I'm tired.
Ramona Singer to go. I've thought that for a while now, though.
I'm
nothing to the show. She has nothing to the show.
And furthermore, Leah McSweeney is trifling. There was that one episode. There was a podcast that Ebony was on, and she's like, "Well, we're co-workers, we're friendly co-workers." I'm paraphrasing, but I think Leah tried to hitch her wagon to the
right.
And she picked Ramona and Luann. So this whole, Leah being this, I hate the word woke, but woke individual. She's not. She's a kid. Hey, Leah McSweeney, you're Karen. You're a Karen. You're as much of a Karen as Ramona Singer is. You live off of your privilege. And honestly, I'm so sick of it. They need to revamp the show. I'm not even sure. I like Ebony K. Williams, but I don't even care. I think either they need to have characters of diversity, but
I agree. I like Ebony K. Williams. I don't know that she was a fit necessarily, but I also think there's a lot of people that have aged out of the show. I think they need a complete revamp.
I think they do. I don't know my thoughts on whether Ebony should stay or should go. I think it would be in bad taste if they fired her.
I do too. But I do think they need. I mean, I'm not excited to watch next season.
No, if they fired Ebony, they need to fire everybody.
Right.
Because that would be really a bad look.
But I don't think they're going to do that. I think maybe Ramona will get the old heave-ho.
She can't even be a friend of the show anymore.
No, I mean, she's not a good person, but they've let her push the boundary and push and push and push. And I mean, we have yet to see what repercussions.
She has had no repercussions.
Right.
And this is just we're watching the regular world on TV, and I need just a bunch. I need people to be catty, but I don't want them to be
racist and offensive.
Yeah. So anyway,
moving on.
Recap. Yeah, moving on. Love, can we start with
We're going to start with the worst of the two shows we're covering, which is Real Housewives, Beverly Hills, part 4 of the reunion. There was nothing. The theme of the episode was Erica's angry. She is angry and she's going to make everyone else in the room uncomfortable because she's a bitch. I mean, she is. She's such a bitch. So, you know, the top of the episode, basically, Andy Cohen opens it with basically, with he goes after Erica for attacking everyone and biting everyone's head off. And he feels like he doesn't understand why Erica is so angry with all the women when it seems as if all the women are actually in his corner or actually in her corner, and not Sutton. I think Sutton kind of took a stance on how she felt about things. And when she tried to approach Erica about it, Erica attacked. And so she's kind of like, I am separating myself. Everything is too fishy. Stories are not adding up. I want nothing to do with it. But Erica feels like that's not the case. The women are not on her side, that they were talking about her behind her back. Well, first of all, the show is about all the women talking about the other women behind their backs. I mean, A. B, your storyline is insane. So of course these women are talking about you behind their backs. What did you behind your back? Sorry. I'm recovering from a cold, so I'm a little off tonight. But you know, like, your story doesn't make sense. Everyone is afraid of you. They know they can't ask you questions, so they're piecing it together behind your back. Like, of course they are. And no one was saying bad things about her. They were trying to put everything together. And honestly, hey, whatever Sutton said isn't bad. No. I would think and say the same thing. Things don't add up. She's not making any sense because she isn't. This is what the LA Times article said, which Erica basically said was not factual, but the LA Times does a good job. So you know, and the women say, like, we don't even understand, like, we did support you. And Erica said, you know, for example, the dinner that Dorit and PK and Kyle and Mauricio had, you guys were basically making fun of me, and PK and I had worked on our relationship, and there he is mocking me. And Kyle, of course, tries to, like, calm her by saying, I'm so sorry. I agree. We can't control what comes out of our husbands' mouths. And Erica snaps back and says, well, I can't control what Tom Girardi, you know, says or does either, or allegedly did or did not do. Everyone's kind of like, wait, so you don't think he did it? Or he's crazy. I mean, she is crazy. There was just this level of anger there. You know, at one point they've discussed the meeting that they had without her after the LA Times article came out. And she's like, I don't even understand why they didn't include me. You know, they should have included me in that meeting. I'm an open book. And everyone's like, but you're not an open book. You bit Garcelle's head off the day before you left, the day before the LA Times article came out, when she mentioned that Tom was calling you. And when we ask you questions, you'd become extremely angry. And she did that to Crystal as well. It's like she did during the episode. She can't, it's weird. She can't hear something and then apply it. Like, there's something, like, she's just dumb, and says one thing and does another. And it's throughout the entire episode. You know, it's very clear that the women were afraid of her and afraid to approach her. And you can see why throughout every episode. And then you can see why very clearly in the final episode, where she is at the, you know, final reunion, part 4, because she is so aggressive. It was a very toxic episode. Borderline, like, I felt like she was going to hit someone. Yeah. And then he asked the question of, like, when did you know you were having money troubles? Like, when did you think, like, this is real, something's up? And I guess she said when she was in New York in 2020, she had a credit card rejected, and she only lived off credit cards and she knew something was amiss. But I think she knew before that. She had
my credit card is rejected. But generally, when my credit card is rejected, my husband isn't worth $50 million plus.
Exactly. I mean, so that's confusing. And then at one point, Kyle, Eric had said, like, well, what are the rumors you've heard? And Kyle put Andy on the spot and basically was like, well, I heard something, but Andy heard the same thing from the same person. I'll let Andy tell you. And Andy was, we know it's Bethany Frankel. Basically had been whispering about their money troubles, the Girardi money troubles, but everyone said that they dismissed it. Oh, it's just talk, no.
Just Bethany being Bethany, which is Bethany the bitch.
Right.
I can't stand Bethany.
I know. I used to really, like I said, I used to really like Bethany, but like, I can't.
There's so many people that I used to love. Like I used to love Erica. I used to love Bethany, but you're just like, man, I just wish Carol Radswell came back.
I loved Carol Radswell. Well, and that's the thing is, like, there was a comment that was made where Erica said everybody takes their turn on the show and goes through a struggle. And it's true, like they do set someone every year, like you never get away unscathed. Like there's always an issue. But Erica, yours is a lot worse than everybody else's. Like, and what can you expect? Like, of course, people are going to be questioning you and wondering what the truth is.
Yeah.
She also says that she doesn't need anyone's sympathy. That's not what she was looking for. She pays for her lifestyle with her Real Housewives money, which I believe, right? Sure. Yeah, like whatever. And then she did open up about the fact that she spoke to Tom. And the reason she was upset with Garcelle about bringing it up in public was that the cameras, while we did hear it, she said the cameras were down, but their mics were still.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And she didn't want people to think that she was in cahoots with Tom, with the fact that he calls every day. But like Garcelle didn't know that. And you never gave her the opportunity to explain that because you were covering up lies. So you couldn't hear anything else. And she said that she does speak to Tom, and he said, Andy Cohen asked, well, did he do it? Did you ask him if he did it? And she said, I asked him, and then she got like verklempt and she didn't know what to say. And then she started crying, and she said she asked him why he would leave her with millions of dollars of lawsuits pointed at her.
You know what I find interesting?
You married him and you knew he was taking that money.
in reunion 3 or 2, whichever episode, she said he doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. Well,
so she contradicted herself. Then why would you ask him a pointed question if you knew? Like she
contradicts herself throughout the whole thing, and then like she says that she's not lying, but stories are still not adding up, and many other bloggers are pointing that out.
I mean, Tom's car and got into an accident.
Right? I mean, that's our favorite. And it rolled 3 times, and then he had to have eye surgery. And, she also claims that the $20 million was not transferred to EJ Global, that was false information, and that 25,000, and that she did have $14 million in credit card debt, but it was over 12 years. So if you look at that, it's like $2 million a year or something, and it's what everyone is basically doing to keep up their lifestyle.
I have a
we're paying it off.
I have a $2 million credit card debt.
You have $1 million in credit card debt?
Yeah, I have about $1 million in credit card debt, mostly Burger King.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and Red Lobster.
It's all for good. It's so that you can eat.
Yeah, I'm a growing boy.
And so then she basically said, like, this is a very long bankruptcy case that's going to be pulled apart, and people are suing her because they think she has money to give, but she doesn't. And she had never heard anything that would make her believe that he was stealing money, and that she wouldn't have been on a reality TV show if she knew, which that's a good point.
Sure, but yeah, I mean,
like, to me, that's a good point. Like, I was like, you're right, Erica. Like, had you known what you know now, or supposedly could possibly be true, you probably wouldn't have put yourself on television, shown your cars, the money, the jets, the jewelry, the clothing. She probably wouldn't have. So there is a part of me that's kind of like, well, maybe she didn't know. That made me question.
The actor, I think it's Michael Rappaport.
Yes, Michael Rappaport.
He's on her side.
He is. I have it on his TikToks.
Yeah. Like, no, I think it was on Watch What Happens Live, because he always goes on that show.
Yeah, I've seen some of his TikToks. I
can't stand the yelling.
I know he gets a little aggressive, like Erica, so maybe that's why.
That's why.
Two birds of a feather, but
steal together.
That's right. Steal together. Hit people together.
Yeah.
And roll their cars 3 times.
And, 5 times.
Roll their cars 5 times and have to have eye surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
going in Los Angeles.
So then they kind of like get into the Christmas dinner, and Erica feels like, like people had plenty of opportunities to ask her, and why didn't they come to her? That was why didn't the women come to me and ask me? And they're like, yeah, well, at Christmas dinner, you were aggressive and you get really angry when we ask you questions. So we don't ask you any questions.
Am I angry enough now?
I mean, she just, and then my favorite is after that, where everyone's basically like, yeah, we're afraid to ask you questions, so we don't. But then you tell us to ask you questions. And Lisa Rinna's like, I don't think everyone should be talking behind her back. I mean, I think Lisa Rinna, like, no. No. Like,
she's the worst. I can't.
Yeah, she's the queen of talking about everyone behind their back.
I mean, I was watching old reunions with Brandi Glanville going, like, Lisa Rinna has said evil, awful things. She's a terrible human being.
Yes. And then she's sort of, Lisa Rinna, like, Andy Cohen calls her out on it. And she's like, well, I'm not proud, basically, of like this. Basically everything she's ever done on the show. She's like, yep, that was all really bad. But I've turned a new leaf. I'm not going to talk behind people's back, and I'm only going to support. Lisa Rinna, I can't stand you anymore. I used to like you. Here's another one I used to
I've loved her for 25 years.
She's lost me.
She was on Melrose Place.
She's lost me.
Yeah, she's lost me too.
And then Garcelle asks at one point, like, did you apologize to Sutton for the way you treated her at Kathy's dinner? And she's like, no, I didn't. And Sutton's like, well, you threatened me. And she's like, well, I threatened that you're going to have your turn going through a struggle on the show, and I'm not going to give you the grace that you need. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You literally threatened her. Now, Sutton took it like 10 steps.
I mean,
which to me, I was like, it's like Sutton and her sprained ankle. Like, oh my God, please stop being so dramatic.
She's overly dramatic and everything. Like, that's one thing Sutton
you hired security. Like, that's the thing. Like, Sutton, take it down a notch.
She's Sutton. There's one thing that Sutton that needs to change is she's very like, she needs to over dramatize, and she also needs to like she needs to be like, oh, poor me, poor, oh my gosh, that was a threat. It's like, It wasn't a physical threat. We know exactly.
No,
Like
it
Erica's gonna
wasn't.
get her
It was,
killed.
I mean,
Like,
shut up, Sutton.
and
Like,
standing there like,
I
can't stand Kyle. I'm done with her too.
well, and then Erica's like, oh, whatever. I made a threat. On any other show, this would be a thing. We discuss it, it'd be over. The only reason it's this way is because Beverly Hills is so goddamn precious. Which I kind of laughed at because it was just like she was just such a frump, you know, like she was just like.
But also, like, Beverly Hills, by the way, is just as violent as anything else. Literally, Brandy kind of threw Kyle down, like she didn't fall, but and then
broken glasses.
I mean, somebody throws their leg on the table.
That was New York.
Like, but yeah, it was New York. Sorry.
So anyway, moving on quickly. The one thing, because I want to get through this. Garcelle said, my one regret was I didn't stick up for Sutton enough at Kathy's dinner. And what I should have done was called Erica a bully, because the real bully there was Erica. It's the truth.
Erica's a monster.
She's a monster.
In my opinion, Kathy, Hilton, Garcelle, and Sutton need to have a little like rom-com, like oh my gosh, if they had a road trip show where they like go on a road trip together, I'd watch it.
You'd watch it. I'd watch it if they were just having dinner parties and eating tons of food. What is it called? A mukbang?
Oh my gosh, we're gonna someday do a mukbang.
We're gonna do one.
We're gonna do a mukbang.
With Red Lobster. That's what Bank wanted to do.
Spend like $200 and get like a bunch of shit and like really eat like monsters.
So anyway, so the one thing is like Erica's like, well, I'll never forgive you, Sutton. I'll never apologize to you because you called me a liar and I don't lie. And my favorite was Sutton called her out. Sutton was like, really? You're not a liar? Because you pretended to be my friend in Del Mar. And they show that clip where Erica is being so fucking fake to Sutton and they're going on the boat. And she's like, I mean, I've just been really going through a hard time, but like, hey, I'm sorry, you know, whatever. And you can see that Erica's just lying. And she's like, yeah, so you did lie because you didn't actually want to be my friend. You were just faking it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was good point. No,
I was just playing it. And shut up, Erica.
Yeah. And then the end of it, basically, because I feel like there's just not much more to say. Erica's like, I just don't understand why, like, you know, Sutton was my friend and then this all happens and she like didn't come talk to me. And Erica and Sutton's like, I tried and you weren't open to it. Look at that dog. Hi, doggy.
He just crawled up here.
She looks like, what's her face from New York?
Not Ramona?
No, not Ramona. I'm sick, so like I can't think of her name right now. She lives in the townhouse.
Oh, this is Sonia Morgan.
She looks like Sonia Morgan.
That's Dixie.
So anyway, the end of it is like basically Tom's children don't talk to Erica. Erica's son boarded up the house and took care of everything. Erica feels like she can serve the victims by cooperating, rolling up her sleeves and getting to the bottom of everything. And she isolated everyone and made everyone feel really uncomfortable. And that's the end.
The only thing that I cared about was Kathy giving like the last hurrah toast.
Yeah, like it was just not even anything.
Okay, but now moving on. Oh, just quickly, there's a petition trying to get Andy fired.
Really? Why? Because they want to replace Andy with you and I?
They should. They should. And if it's not us, maybe Kathy Griffin. That would be really
great. Kathy Griffin would be good.
She'd be like, oh, I mean, everybody's looking for her comeback and Andy hates her, so.
Andy hates her because she wouldn't do cocaine with him.
Allegedly.
Allegedly wouldn't do the cocaine.
And since we don't know them, we can judge, but if like say Andy hung out with us and we all became fast friends, then whatever we said is a moot point.
That's
or
right.
is in the show Friends.
Yeah.
A moot point.
We can't say that we like him or dislike him.
We don't know you, Andy. You haven't allowed us to get to know you.
Yeah. If you allowed us to get to know you, then we could make an informed decision.
And then we'd be on your side.
Right.
Because we'd be hanging out with you. Okay, continue.
Anyway, let's move on to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Let's try to do this in 15 minutes.
Okay, so basically we open on first assistant Stan and Jen doing fraudulent work. We don't know
How bad they were not. Allegedly.
Making money off the backs of others.
I love how they made it a point to be like, have Jen talk about how much she loves.
I know, it's like in
I'm like,
of the next episode where she gets arrested. And she's like feeding him a banana, and it's like, this is so weird. And you're busy stealing from other people, but cool.
he needs his potassium.
And then we like go through the housewives, we see them doing their stuff. And then we get to, I just felt that one was important. That little scene. And then we see Lisa and her baby gorgeous children. I'll never get over her calling her son baby gorgeous. Like, what?
Baby gorgeous.
I thought about that a week after the episode, for like days after. I was like, baby gorgeous, I couldn't, for some reason it bothered me. Anyway,
Lisa Barlow bothers me.
What does?
Lisa.
Yeah, in general. So they're busy planning a party for Fresh Wolf, her sons and her husband and Lisa Barlow. And they're collaborating with an organization that helps children in foster care, and it's a party for 30 people. The main theme in this episode is Lisa Barlow is a troublemaker, and she sets up scenarios for trouble. Like, all she does is want to cause trouble. Yeah. She wants to cause conflict between all the women, and it's very obvious. We see Mary, Heather, Whitney all meet for lunch, and they like sit down at this nice dinner and or lunch, and the staff come over and they're about to serve salmon ceviche, and Mary's like, I don't eat raw fish. You're gonna have to cook that. I won't eat that. She's so bizarre. She is so
weirdo. Like, who doesn't want like ceviche?
I don't know, because I love ceviche.
Like, that's a weird thing not to like. And you're a weirdo if you don't like it.
Well, but she is a weirdo.
You better be a vegetarian or a vegan.
Sorry, Mary. I'm curious if our viewers like Mary. Like, I am curious if there is anyone out there that is a Mary fan.
We'll only know if you email us at realityhatef, that's realityhatef@gmail.com.
Yeah, we did get one hate mail letter.
Yeah, we did, from a racist.
We got a racist letter. But anyway, so then they begin like serving the food, and Mary like jumps on Heather for not blessing the food first. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, we can bless the food. And she's like, I already blessed it. It's done. I already blessed it. But it was just so weird. Like, way to make the lunch uncomfortable, Mary. And so then
we don't pray.
Yeah, I'm not a praying person before my meal.
Oh, I have to, like, I do one prayer for Sauron. I do another prayer, Sauron from Lord of the Rings.
I was like, wait, what?
And then I do one to Sauron, one to Lord Xenu, and then one to Joseph from all the cults.
So then basically Mary jumps into how frustrated she is with Lisa, and what triggered her by the sparkling water comment was it was triggering. The sparkling water comment was triggering because it takes her back to her mother, who always criticized her, who felt she should take over the church and marry her husband.
I mean, listen,
her stepfather. And so so when people criticize her, it's triggering. I think just getting criticized isn't the
You
great.
didn't have to
People
bring up.
don't love to be criticized. I mean, I'm an actor, so I can take criticism.
I'm an actor, so I'm not an actor.
But I still have a hard time taking criticism. Like, you know,
I just don't like.
Yes.
When people give me unsolicited advice. Can I give you advice? No, bitch.
I give you advice all the time.
I don't know.
No,
you give me advice when I ask for it, or you think I need it.
Yeah.
People that are like, can I? I hope you don't get mad, but I know. I will get mad. I'm mad already, bitch. Yeah. I'm mad.
Well, but this was about the sparkling water affecting ovaries.
It does. And Google it. Google it.
Are you being serious? I've never heard that.
I'm joking. That is a lie. That is a 100% lie.
Yeah. And like currently.
That is as much of a lie as ivermectin cures COVID.
That's right. No, that's real.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, Google it.
I don't know even what Google is.
Oh, shoot. Have you ever heard of Dogpile? Do you remember that? Dogpile?
Oh, is that? No, I'll Friendster that information.
Recently I was like, is Dogpile still around? Like, I thought to like Google it.
I actually Googled Friendster, and I Googled MySpace was music. Friendster didn't even pop up. And
I probably still have a Friendster and MySpace account.
I used to.
I still have an AOL.
I used to go on AOL chats when I was like in high school and like talk to older men.
What? I used to go in the chat rooms too, but not for that purpose.
There was man for man. And I just get hit on by local older married men from Indianapolis, Indiana.
I still use my AOL account because I have like work stuff that people still use, and I've just never changed it to my other address, which is my Gmail. And actually, like the last job that I worked, the other actor, because they use my AOL, so like on the call sheet is like Jaya Baby at my AOL account. No. There it is. There it is.
Can I tell you what else I used to do in high school?
But wait, the actor, the actor that I worked with emailed me and was like, man, you still have an AOL account. Baller move.
I mean, if you think about it, it's pretty cool because it's vintage.
Vintage.
Besides talking to older men, and then knowing that I'm a younger child, I would also like catfish and pretend I was a woman. And
you were catfishing before catfishing was.
Yeah, I'd be like
catfishing.
I'd be like, hey, I'm Brittany.
You're such a weirdo.
I mean,
I would say that I never did that either. Like, I feel like we all did weird things in chat rooms.
Oh yeah,
we were all on the AOL chat rooms.
I don't get like that was I was obviously in the closet. I was figuring stuff out.
I don't think I was doing it for that reason, but I think out of curiosity, right? You had this secret thing that nobody else was seeing.
It was really fun to like get like a straight guy to like climax and then trick him.
Oh, I never had. I was never going into rooms like that.
Then it'd be like, you liked it.
Oh my god!
I'm so disgusted.
Oh my god! I never had that experience. But anyway, back to Mary.
And I admitted that on Reality Hate F.
So Heather and Whitney basically are talking about like, while Mary's saying like, I'm frustrated with Lisa, but we're still friends. Heather and Whitney are like, are you still friends? I mean, like, here's the thing. Is she a friend to anyone? You're friends with Lisa as long as you like step in line. And Mary was kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go with that. I'm still Lisa's friend, right? Everything's fine. So it looks like everything's not going to be fun. There's going to be issues next week or this coming week. We've seen, right? So, anyway, then we get to the Fresh Wolf photo shoot I'll get through it quickly. Lisa's covered in Louis Vuitton. You housewives, find a new brand.
Oh gosh.
You all are covered head to toe.
So terrible.
Oh, there it is. And then Jen shows up in a wolf head for the photo shoot. I'm bringing this up for a reason because there's a reason.
Yeah.
And then, they like sit down and have a talk, and Lisa's like, oh, what's going on with your assistant that we can't talk about that said you verbally assaulted them? And she's like, I was good to that assistant that, she couldn't get a dress made in time and I hired him because he was from Hawaii. What? Like, not looking at anything else. You just, because he's from Hawaii? BS. And then he took my kindness and he repaid me by attacking me. Or Jen attacked him. Who knows?
I just found the tape.
But Lisa's like, I don't want to talk about that part. I want to get to the point, which is I'm about to cause trouble. Whitney, why was Whitney sending him stuff? I mean, like, isn't she your friend? Like, I think it's wrong and everyone needs to be held accountable. Oh, I just want to let you know that I'm the only true friend. Like, I'm the true friend.
What is Lisa? I hate Lisa Barlow. Yes, continue.
I mean, it was like so weird. And then we see quickly Whitney get together with her brother. She doesn't speak to her dad. He's struggling with addiction. Very sad. Anywho. And then we quickly see Heather with her daughter, Meredith with her daughter. They get together and talk about college. What I thought was so funny is like all the other people are like, I will have one spaghetti noodle, and then I will have a piece of kale and a cranberry. And like the other one's like, I will have a glass of ice water with one lemon drop. And Heather's like, I'll order the truffle fries, 3 mac and cheeses for the table, a club sandwich.
That's a mukbang.
Can you do like a French toast cobbler? Like, and I love her. Like, I'm like, thank God somebody's willing to eat on. Like, she's always the one that's like, this is some bullshit here. Let's actually eat.
We're gonna be here for 5 hours, so if you have a moose out back, you need to shoot.
That was the most important. That was like the main reason I wanted to call it out, because everybody else was not eating, and then she like orders everything, and then she basically talks about how like college wasn't college for her, except for the fact that she took a little person. She was a travel companion for a little person on a booze cruise. Cool. And she won liquor and she like thought she was living it up. I thought that was funny.
I think she's great. Like,
I love her.
It must have been hard. It must be hard for people from BYU. Guys, I want to tell you something. Before you go to BYU, why don't you just like spend like a weekend in New York City, or go to LA,
metropolitan area.
Yeah, and just like, fuck. Mormons are pretty good looking. Mormons be hot as shit. You don't know how much ass you could get with your blonde hair and blue eyes.
So are they attractive racists? Maybe some of them.
Maybe.
I don't know. But anyway, then the point is Meredith invites Heather to this house in Vail that she has that like her family can't go to. Probably this is not the truth, but we're saying this. They're going to Vail, right?
Are they?
Her family was not going ever. These women are going to Vail. Well, we'll see. And so then we get to the Fresh Wolf event and like people start arriving, and then we cut to Heather and like Heather's house, and Jen arrives. It's the same night of the Fresh Wolf event, and Jen arrives at Heather's house and brings like sex toys and is like, I'm trying to get you dating again. Here are all these stupid sex toys. And Heather's like, hey, I'm co-hosting this trip to Vail now with Meredith, which I thought was weird. Like, do you want to go? So Jen says yes. And then she's like, oh, by the way, Jen says yes, and then says, I heard Whitney sent products to my assistant. And Heather's like, okay, cool. But like, why would Lisa bring that up? Like, why would she bring that up? You know, like, don't you think that's weird? Don't you think she's just trying to cause trouble since she's just like becoming friends with Whitney and like
Why
forming
is
their
Heather
relationship?
and Whitney the smartest people like on the show?
But like, yeah, of course, like suddenly she's Whitney's friend, but then she's like, by the way, this is what Whitney did.
Yeah.
But then Heather's like, and it's funny that she's saying all this behind Whitney's back because Whitney is currently at an event for Lisa's children, and you're not invited, even though you went to the photo shoot, Jen, and supported Lisa and her family. And I'm not invited. So don't you think that's weird?
No, we get to the reason why Lisa's kids made them. That's a bullshit. Oh my God. If you're willing to throw your own children under the bus.
I mean, she is something. And then, you know, of course, Jen gets more upset when she hears it's for foster care. And she's like, that's what my aunt is involved in. Now I'm really angry.
Jen, shut up.
Listen, sister, you have a lot more you're going to be angry about. And so then we get to the Fresh Wolf event. We see Angie there. Like, let me just drop some more bombs about the catering job. You know, like just like in front of Meredith. Like, who are you? Do you want to be on the show? You're not compelling. Like move on. Like she just does these drive-bys, these planted drive-bys.
Lisa just wait, is this the same night that Meredith meets the
Yes. So we're getting to that. So here it is. So there's Meredith, there's Whitney, Meredith, Lisa setting up, yet another like talk, thing about the catering job. Then she, moves Meredith on to Cameron, who she's like, oh, okay, so now you've heard about the catering event and that you see that it was all.
You gotta meet Cameron.
But now you've got to meet Cameron. Cameron's my connection to Mary. And so she's like, I'll leave you to it.
It's like if my connection to you was your worst enemy, like
wait.
I met Jaya through my worst enemy. Wait, oh.
I know, that's why I was like, wait.
Nobody does. Oh, that's not. Shut
up. But so anyway.
Nobody's my worst enemy. And then of course not. I love him.
So anyway, then Cameron is like, hi, yeah, I knew Mary. I was a reverend there and I was very close to Mary and her husband. And yeah, I stopped at 10. I thankfully got out and there were some harmful things done to me and you should be really careful. And, that's it. And like kind of walks away and Meredith is like, okay, what does all this mean? So then she becomes really uncomfortable about it. And Lisa pulls her aside and is like, oh yeah, so you met Cameron, like, what'd you think? And she's like, yeah, I'm really uncomfortable. Like he said he had really harmful experiences at Mary's church. I never had that experience. And he thankfully got out and I don't even understand what he's saying. What is all this?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, that's why I keep them separate.
But I definitely wanted to introduce you.
But like, I wanted to introduce you, but yeah, some real trauma happened to him. She's like, Mary wronged me in the last episode, so I'm getting her in this one.
Wait, a list of everything Lisa Barlow's attempting to do.
I mean, she literally, it was the entire Fresh Wolf party was a setup from the caterer walking by to Cameron to not inviting certain people. I mean, like, what is she doing? Is she bright? Now I'm questioning her brain. Like
she had PAs to the side. She goes, at 8:15, we will have 5 minutes with Cameron. But prior to that, I shall talk about this. And this is the schedule. She's like, but they're like, but what about your children? Fuck
they need to really nip that catering thing in the butt. So we've got to have someone walk by so they can like just prove the point that I had nothing to do with it. And I am being dragged through the mud.
She's always dragged through something. I'd like to drag her.
But like she is setting people up to try and make her look good or cause trouble. I mean, she's the worst, but it's all going to be overshadowed. And Lisa Barlow's probably going to get away with it because Jen is about to get arrested. And that's all anyone is going to care about. And Lisa Barlow maybe had some thing like was invested or tangled up with Jen a little bit.
I think a little bit. I don't think enough to like, there was nothing crazy.
Right.
And so this party goes and then they have, then they have dinner. Then our dearest friend, Mary, hosts an Italian party. And this is the thing. Yeah, the Italian party. Where she tells everybody to get ready for the Italian outfit, like they have to wear an Italian outfit.
Wait, I don't remember that part.
No, okay, so next, what happens is, so Mary wants to host an Italian-themed luncheon. And she's like, everybody has to wear an Italian type outfit. The theme was Italian streetwear. And so-
Wait, is this on this episode, this past Sundays?
This last Sundays, yes.
Yes, but we haven't covered that yet.
What are you talking about?
I haven't watched this week's yet.
Oh, can we just like, there's nothing that happened in that last episode. I asked if we were covering 2 episodes today. Oh, you haven't watched.
Yes.
Oh.
You're seeing us unfold right here.
Okay, anyway, on the next episode of Reality Hate Us, and Sarah's gonna watch it really. Oh, that was it then. We're at the end. And I watched it. I thought we had caught up.
Well, we're covering it this week.
Okay, so just you gotta let me know if you're available the 13th.
Okay.
We're doing our pre-production meeting right now for you guys. Anyway, listen, we need you to email us. Oh, we've given up on taglines. Yeah,
because you guys are just not giving them to us.
I mean,
honestly, it was a fun thing. Like we thought it was so fun for you guys to give us a tagline that we could read. We'd love to hear them. We know that fans come up with their own all the time. We'd love for you to give us one.
We made it nice for you.
Yeah, you made it nice.
Anyway, so a lot of shit goes down next week.
I haven't watched it yet. I've been sick.
Yo, you'll love it. I actually, if you can't go to bed for a little bit,
I'm watching it tonight.
It's so good. I mean, when I say it's good, it's like I can't like. Everything that it's just worth it. Finally,
little thing she does is magic.
Every little thing Jen does is magic. Every little thing she does is fraud. Anyway, you know what, Jaya, feel better. Audience, watch our show. So let's have more audience. And I'm Venk.
I'm Jaya.
Bye.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Woohoo!
Okay, start.
Blackwater. We like it.
So good.
Quenches that thirst.
So good.